Hi everyone, and welcome to how to write an A/A star A-level psychology essay. I've been getting loads and loads of emails from everybody about putting stuff up for A2 psychology, and obviously because there's so many different topics that could be covered. I think there's 8 topics altogether. It is going to be quite difficult to deliver something or lecture notes for every single topic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be showing you in these series how you can actually get to write an A star level star a psychology essay. Now, please, if you are at the moment getting D grades or E grades for your essays, then this is not going to be for you at this particular time. Not saying it will never will be, but just for now, what I suggest that you do actually do is to go and speak to your teacher to find out how she can at least move you up to a C grade, because the problem there obviously is your knowledge and understanding. However, if you are getting C grades already and are getting maybe even B grades, then this is what you need to be listening to, and this is how you can actually improve those grades to an A and A star. So remember, I'm an actual examiner for psychology A level, and what you do need to remember is that when we're marking every single year, we know exactly which textbooks the whole country is using. It's more or less everybody uses probably the same 2 or 3 type of textbooks, whether it be the Dog one or the Nelson Forms one, etc. So what's happening is that if you think about it, the majority of people are going to um, be using those particular textbooks with the same information. So the majority of people are getting C grades. They're always going to be scoring within the reasonable slash even basic bands, and obviously that's going to get you a C grade. Some people get B grades, and only a minority get A to A star. So this is what I want to try and move people up to: how you can actually get the A and A star for every single essay that you actually write. And if you do not like reading, then we have issues already, because the essays that I read, which are A quality, um, it shows that they've done something more than sit down and just open up the textbook and regurgitate information from the textbook to the piece of paper. Another thing that we've noticed this year as examiners, or sort of last year as examiners, is that people are just copying. They're getting essays online, and they're just memorizing those essays, and without even thinking about it, they are just writing, copying, regurgitating. So obviously that's quite obvious to see. So my advice is not to do that. Essays should be free flow. Obviously I'm going to show you how you can have the basic starter points, but do not try to regurgitate or commit to memory all the essays, because it's not going to work, and chances are you're not going to get any more than a reasonable or basic band, which is obviously around a C, very high C grade, very low B grade. Okay, so um, I'm going to show you the step-by-step tutorial of how I would actually go about writing an A-level psychology essay, and I tell this to my students as well. So first things first, step one is every single essay needs to have some type of argument. I'm thinking, what do you mean by argument? My teacher never told me about this argument. Yes, an essay is supposed to be relaying some type of discussion. So if you're having a discussion with another person about um, a favorite rock band or favorite R&B or pop band, etc., you're not going to say, just say for example, somebody's not going to say, oh, I like Justin Bieber, and I'll go, oh, I like Justin Bieber too. That's not really a discussion, an argument, or debate. It's not really going anywhere, because you're both saying, I love Justin, etc. Yeah. So what you do need to do, you need to think of how you are going to sway your argument, how you are going to channel what are you going to do with it. Okay. So you can't just have um, an essay with nowhere to go with it. So how I like to talk about lines of argument is um, our channel of thought, our journey on this particular essay, and on the mark boundaries, you do actually get marked for a coherent, that means clear and easy to understand line of argument. leading to a nice distinct conclusion at the end. It shows that your essay has gone somewhere. Yeah, your train of thought, you started from train A and you ended up on train of thought A again. You didn't divert anywhere. Right. So what I like to do, I like to start off a line of argument. You think of an area of interest to relate to the topic. So this topic obviously is the dissolution of romantic relationships. I'm not going to I'm not going to patronize anybody. Obviously, you're listening to this if you want to get an A and A star. Okay. So therefore, you're already getting the C's and B grades. So I'm not going to go on too much about the AO1 content. This is all about developing our essay writing skills to the point where when I read this during summer, I'm going to be like, wow, has to be definitely in an effective band, and very, very few people get to this band. Okay, so I'm going to show you how. So your line of argument, this may be related to the issues, debates, or approaches arguments. I say keep it to these arguments, and all these issues, debates, and approaches are ways of getting you to think outside the box. So, for example, if you have a theory, just say duck the rolling duck model of breakdown of relationships, you're gonna these issues, debates, and approaches are meant to make you think outside of that. Is it applicable to all? Who is it not applicable to? For example, those kind of stuff. What are the issues here? Are they cultural issues? Are they gender issues, etc.? So this dissolution of a relationships, the most apparent way of thinking here is going to be more likely to be issues. The reason it's not going to be, for example, approaches, is because it hasn't really spoken about the biological approach to, or the evolutionary approach. The question's not asking that. The question's asking about the dissolution. Fear is about the dissolution or the breakdown of relationships. So you're thinking about what issues can we have with this theory. So all these are just ways for you to think critically. You have to develop your critical thinking skills. And some people just don't like to think. But if you do want to score highly on these papers, 100%, you do need to show evidence of this type of thinking. So examples of areas that you can go into. So gender, determinism, social sensitivity, all these different examples of different areas, etc. But just say for this example, I'm quite interested. I do a lot of research in culture, ethnicity, race, etc. So that's probably what a lot of my essays are going to be about anyway. But I'm just going to show you ideas of how you can run with it. Okay, so just say I've picked my area of interest. So I quite like ethnicity or race or anything to do with that. So the next part, stage 2, is I need to go and read. And a lot of you who may not have started PSYA 4 yet would not have come across what we mean by academic journals or academic articles. Okay, so you will get taught this in the paper 4, and you do need to know what academic journals / articles actually are. But if you do, for example, want to want to start looking at what journals or articles are, these are a bit like magazines. And say, for example, I wanted to develop a magazine on fashion in Great Britain. So I'm going to have my team of journalists going out to get me stories on fashion in the United Kingdom. And I'm going to publish that. And I'm going to have my different editions of my magazines. And this is exactly how journals actually work. So we have academic journals in this country, not just this country, all around the world. This is how knowledge gets passed on. And every journal is different. So, for example, some journals can be looking at personality and relationships. Some can be looking at gender. Some can be looking at finances. So it's not just psychology journals. We have journals about every single subject. So economics, engineering, medical journals, etc. And so within these actual journals, what researchers do is they go and they do research and they submit it into a specific journal. So if I was to do research on transgender individuals, I may find a journal to submit it to which looks at or which is focused on sexuality or gender or any of those kind of stuff, etc. And I'll try and submit to see if my work is going to get published. Hence why you see in the textbooks, for example, when you see a study, at the back of it, the references, it tells you exactly which journal that study came out of. So take a look at it. But what I'll do, so I'm going to show you examples. So I'll first of all Google the area of interest related to your topic. So obviously I'm interested in ethnic differences in divorce or separation articles. So this is, for example, let's copy and paste this. This is what I would put into Google. Yeah, I like going to Google. Okay, so and I would always put articles. Yeah, so it tells Google that I'm looking for so let me see. I always put articles, so it tells Google that I'm actually looking for academic articles. So press search, and on top you're going to see scholarly articles for ethnic difference. So I'm going to click on that, and this is where it kind of gets a bit, ooh, so much stuff. How do I filter this stuff in? This is fine. Okay. Now the problem is with accessing journal articles is that quite a number of them you have to pay for, but quite a substantial amount are free. Okay, and even so, you can get away with actually not even paying anything for them at all by just looking at the abstracts. Okay, so abstracts. So let's look at the first one. So let's look at um, explaining racial and ethnic differences in adolescent vibe. Let's take a look at this one, for example. Okay, and we can see, let's make the screen a bit bigger. We can see that this particular, so I'm just giving you an example, this particular article has come from this journal, and this journal, let me find the journal now, publishing, um, this journal comes from, I can't even find a journal name, let's go back, and look for another one, let's just look at just a standard one. Okay. All right. So just like we clicked on that scholarly article, and this one comes from the American Journal of Community Psychology. Oh, very interesting. And this article or paper is about distribution of traumatic and other stressful life events by race, ethnicity, gender, social, economic status, and age. Okay, so this is just a random one I picked. And what you're going to see, every single journal article has to be written in exactly the same way. So you need to know this for PSYA4 anyway. You need to know the how they've actually written all the subheadings. And it always starts off with the abstracts. And the abstract tells you just a general summary of what the research is actually about. So what they wanted to do, how they done it, and what they found. Because as you would see afterwards, when we actually look at these articles, they're quite long. Yeah. So articles are a nice way to summarize what the research was about if you want to use it. Okay, so you're going to have to access it in some way. And as I said, there are plenty of free ones. This one wouldn't be free. I can instantly tell this one's not actually free. Because, for example, if you put get PDF, oh, it might be free. Yeah, sometimes. Oh no, it's not free. I've got the I can access all journals if I needed to because I've got the login. Some of your schools, for example, could have the logins. Your school or college could have subscribed to the logins to get the journal via Athens. You can ask your teacher if they've got logins, but if they haven't, unfortunately, you could just have to stick to the free ones, and that kind of limits how much the stuff that you can actually read. Right, so let's go back and let's access a free one. So what I'll do here is I'll probably type in 3 articles just for the sake of those that can't access them. My students just email me the titles, for example, and I can just access it for them. So ethnic difference in divorce separation, free articles, the causal effects of. Let's look at the ones. Give you an example. Gosh, that's a bit. Right, is this an example of a free one? Yeah, this you can use this as an example of a free one that you can actually get. Some of them open up as PDF. I like to read them via PDF. Um, So, for example, you can read it as a PDF. I think it's nicer to read it as a PDF, to be fair. Okay, so as I said before, each journal article always starts off with, obviously, as you can see, the title. So this is racial, ethnic, and gender differences among other adults in non-monogamous partnerships, time spent on HIV testing. It also gives all the researchers that have actually taken part in this actual study or research. And this is where we're getting the textbooks, I don't know, Harawa et al. We don't need to bother about everybody else. We just look for the first surname and add et al. So this is again what we see in our textbooks. Okay, so these are all these people and all these horrible names that you try to remember when you're revising for your essays. Okay, abstracts, again, it's a nice abstract. It gives you background, methods, results, etc. So it's a summary. So you need to know the conventions of writing an academic article. So this is just a nice summary. Got some nice keywords here. So some keywords that you may not know. This is a nice time to Google this. And a good thing about using journal articles is you're going to extend your vocabulary. And what makes a really, really effective essay is those essays that look like you know what you're talking about. You're using vocabulary that the majority of the country are not using. You show that you've put thought and effort into your particular essay. So this is, again, the more you read these academic articles, the better your writing is going to be automatically, believe me. Okay, and then followed by an introduction. Okay, introductions, they just generally give a basic outline of what the study is actually about. So not just what the study is about, but research looking into the area of their study. So what other researchers have found, what is going on with this particular topic. So it's about HIV testing, STDs, etc., all that kind of stuff. You'll see, for example, the numbers here in the text will refer to where they've got their information from. So if you look at number 3, right at the bottom of the article for references, you go to number 3 and it's going to find that they got it from Ricer et al. And they got it from this particular journal, and this was the edition and the volume and the page numbers, etc. Yeah, so and so on. So we can instantly see which journal. So there's loads of different journals out there. So that's just an example. So references come right at the end. So what introductions do is they give you a background information about what has been currently done so far and why, in fact, they want to do their current research. Okay. Followed by the next section that you need to know is you need to be able to know methods come after the introduction. So how they've actually gone to do their actual research. Okay, so methods bit come next. It's all methods, etc. And followed by results, so specific results. Okay, so you need to know this as well, that this comes afterwards. And then finally we've got discussion. Okay. Followed by references. So this is a conventional way to write an academic journal. Again, you could be asked a 10 marker on this on PSY4 on that examination paper. So you need to know journal articles like the back of your hand. Okay, so this is what a journal article looks like for those that didn't know. If you did know, I do apologize. Okay, so going back to my how-to guide. So I've now accessed maybe 1 or 2 or 3 different articles of interest, and I've seen ones that I've liked. And what I usually read, obviously, because no one's got like 2-3 hours, but sometimes it doesn't take that long. It depends on how much time you've got and how much effort you want to put into this. But I usually read the abstract, the introduction, and the discussion. I don't really tend to read the results, let's be fair. And obviously no one's going to read the references. So introduction is quite good because it gives you so much different types of background information, and you can use some of the stuff there as well in your own essays, and discussion is also quite nice as well. Okay, obviously abstracts just gives you a general overview and tells you whether you should continue reading this particular journal article or not. Okay, so I've done this, okay, and how I can use this, and this is what people always get mistaken here on these essays, okay? We mark essays using bands, not actual like marks, like 1 mark for saying this and 1 mark. We don't do it like that. It's all about bands, and I break it down to the rudimentary. That's not very good. Basic, still not very good. Reasonable, yeah, quite a number of people get reasonable, but effective, and this is I'm looking for in an A star essay. Okay, so for example, if we take, I've given you an example of a commentary. So commentary is key. Commentary is what makes up the majority of your AO2/3 marks. It's you commenting. It's you doing something with the actual information from the textbook or from whatever text that you've been reading. Okay, so the bit in white here, Millardo et al. 1991. Okay, all this bit here has come from a textbook. Okay, so this is my 10. She's 10 now. My 10-year-old, for example, going into a textbook and taking and remembering exactly what the textbook says. And this is what examiners find that people are doing. Yeah, they use this as evidence, but they're not doing anything with it. Now, a few people who probably get like the C grades, very high C grades, on a cusp of the B grades generally, what they start doing, the bit in green, is called reasonable commentary. So let's look at this, for example. Murada et al. 1991 found that friends and family members may have beliefs about the desirability of persisting in a relationship. They found that their feelings may influence the individual's sense of obligation to remain with their partner. If, for example, an individual were to mention divorce to their close family member, they may be reminded about how sacred the marriage vows are, and friends could even mention how they will miss spending time with them as a couple. Okay, that's just basic. Yeah, that's straight. That will put you very in a basic band already. Okay, and what some people do, this suggests beautiful way to show you're doing some kind, you're commenting on the information that you've given. So this suggests that relationship dissolution could be reversed by friends and family who support the union, ensuring the couple do not get to section 3 of the breakdown model. That's the actual breakdown. Okay, so you've done something a bit with it. It's reasonable, but it's not effective. Okay, now the bit in blue is now what we lead on to effective commentary. Yeah, this is what's coming from your own head and your own brain, and that's why it's hard, and that's why it's effective, because not everybody's going to do this. But the more you practice how to do this, the better you're going to get. So for example, I've put, this would, however, depend on how influential friends and family are to the couple, or even how comfortable they feel exposing the intimate details of their life. For example, in a society where more and more social communication is happening online, the emphasis may be to show themselves or their relationships in a more desirable light by putting happy pictures of themselves on such social media sites like Facebook. Therefore, on the surface, the relationship may seem fine, which means there'll be no need for family or friends to intervene or think anything was wrong. This now suggests that the role of family and friends may not have as much impact as the model may suggest. Implications of this could be to see how social media could be incorporated into this model, and if there is a way it could be used to counteract the dissolution process. Here already, as an example, you've just reached that effective band then and there. You've taken research and you have commented on it in an effective manner. It shows that you've really thought about what this specific research has actually found, and this is something you're going to be need to get used to. After A levels, as I said, everyone keeps saying A levels is probably much harder than the degree level. If you get used to starting to do this, no matter what degree that you're going to do, or university, or any type of academic stuff that you're going to do, this is what you need to be doing. Yeah, you need to be showing how you've used information. Have you thought critically about the information? And this is what this blue section is doing, and this is how you get to think effectively. Okay, so what I've actually done is, while while I'm doing a step by step, I would have a planning page. Obviously, I don't need a planning page now because obviously I can do this. But I would suggest that you have like a little planning page like this, and I would, for example, so this will be, for example, the keywords. Or so when I'm reading my academic journals or articles, I will pick out all the new keywords that I may not have been familiar with, or it's definitely not going to be in a textbook, and just makes me look so much smarter than I actually am. or yourselves. Okay. So I've got all these new words here, and I'll be like, okay, I can use these in my essay somewhere to give it that that vavavoom, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Then I've got the textbook knowledge. So this is textbook theories, etc. So as I said, if you're not too if you're not too comfortable with the theory side of it, all the AO1 stuff about the for example, this is Rolling Duck's breakdown model, etc., then I do suggest going back over that information again. But you should be, especially if you are getting any like C's and above for your essays. Okay. Then I'll start thinking about what my line of argument could actually be. Yeah. So now I've made my notes on the general bits of information. I know what all this is, etc. Okay, so my line of argument, I've got some examples here. So the breakdown model can adequately explain all types of relationship breakdown. I can use that one. Or other ideas, for example, some people may want to go by is, does the breakdown model account for gender differences in relationship dissolution? It could be a question, and my conclusion will then be yes, it can, or no, it can, well, no, it cannot. So basically, you are what you're doing in your essay, you're leading on to the conclusion which has answered your particular question or your particular line of argument. Or you could be like, what are ethnic differences in the dissolution of relationships? Yeah, I quite like that one. Or class can affect the likelihood of relationship dissolution. Yeah, so it's all about looking at how we can angle this. Okay, and what I do when I'm reading my journal articles, I just select, copy, and paste key little things. So I've got all the names here, and this is where your essay just looks amazing. I've got all the different things that people have said or different studies that people have used, which I could use to think critically in my particular essay. So I've got here, because I wanted to go by looking at interracial relationships or marriages, etc. So I've got little things as and on um, for example, endogenous marriages were found to be more stable than those involving couples who were dissimilar on social significant traits, e.g., education, race, or ethnicity. So this basically means same race marriages just tend to last longer than different people who are dissimilar. And all these people here are the ones who found out. So if I was to remember anything, I remember these names, etc. It depends how much I want to use in my essay. Remember, your essay should be between 600 to 700 words. That's ideally how much you could be writing in 30 minutes to give an effective essay. So other key things I've got from this particular, I think I've just used one journal here, one particular article from a journal, and I've these are all some of the things. So Kalmin, I think I used him in my essay et al. 2005, found that larger cultural differences between a husband and wife increase the risk of divorce. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. I could use that as well. Okay, so once I've got my basic key ideas or my key thoughts I've selected and copied from my journal article, I then go on to write the essay. Okay, so this is an example of an A-star essay using commentary, using my new bits of information, obviously using bits from the textbook. So I spoke about Rolling Duck's model of breakdown behavior, etc. Even the way I've written it, etc., is enough to get me to seven to eight AR1 marks. And then 16 marks that I've discussed. You can see as you go through how it flows nicely, how it's coherent, and how it basically ends to a nice conclusion, etc. I've used all my keywords and my key names. So you can download this if you want to. If you go click on the link at the bottom of this video, download it, and what's it called? Use it as an don't use it obviously don't copy and paste the essay and regurgitate it. You try and use this kind of framework to see if you can develop your own way and your own style of writing as well. Okay, and what I've actually done as well, I've actually gone and looked through all the past relationship examination questions since 2012. So they changed the specification in January 2012, and what I found is they've never actually asked a question on either discuss one theory or discuss a theory into the breakdown of relationships. They have asked, for example, maintenance. They've asked for formation. In 2012, this was going back nearly this go like 4 years ago now. They did ask to discuss research into the breakdown, but they've never asked about a theory. So I'm thinking, cha-ching, maybe, but please don't take my word for it. But it looks very, very likely that dissolution could come up this year. Okay, so as I said, my final thoughts: the only way to keep getting better at these essays is to keep doing them. See, I love writing essays. Yeah, I love this whole process of it, and the only way to love it is because I keep doing it. I keep taking out bits from reading, not just one textbook. Please don't. It's all about in life the journal articles. So select, copy, paste into your key ideas, find out new bits of information, and this is how knowledge goes. This is how you extend your vocabulary. You learn new things, and you can recycle and use things that you got from here into your other essay, such as cultural relationships in um, cultural relationships in that particular topic in your textbook in the specification. Okay, so you can recycle. So again, it's all about the process of doing it. So if you would if you would like me to mark, I go by developmental marking or feedback, because I like to know what things you can actually do to improve, or areas that you can do to tighten up, etc., to make sure you get to the effective band. I don't mind doing that, etc. Just copy the link, obviously, because I'm working full time as well, and I'm now dealing with a particular curriculum, so I'm dealing with all other different subjects as well, managing that. There is a small charge. Yeah, please keep to actually give you some kind of feedback. That's if, for example, that's if your teacher, for example, may not give you feedback straight away, or you may not be happy with the level of feedback that your teacher gives to you. Sometimes it could just be like, she might just give you a grade. If you're happy with just a grade, that's fine. I also have that service as well. So if you just want a grade and a number, that's fine. But if you want something a bit more substantial, that would be actually giving you feedback, or even me giving you audio feedback, etc., telling you where you can improve on, then please do just copy and paste this link into your browser, and there are different, so I can get back to you within 24 hours if you want to, or 72 hours, exactly what you choose. And I've got different levels of service. It depends on, I've got a pound, starting from a pound to like £10. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. But the more you do, I can't tell you enough that the more practice you do of doing something like this, the easier your life will be, and the more effective your essays will start being. Believe me, it actually does work. Okay, thank you so much for this. Again, you can download this whole essay if you want to by clicking on the link at the bottom of this video, and you get all of this, all my notes, my planning, and this particular essay as well. Okay, thank you.